Israel versus Palestine. Who's right? Who's wrong? Who has the right to exist? Who has a right to stop the other, destroy the other? I don't know. Does good and evil exist? Which one's good and evil? Let's find out. There's a debate hosted by the Soho Forum, posted at Reason TV. Let's check out the trailer.
The Palestinian movement is hostile to individual liberty, including and especially the liberty of Palestinians themselves.
Israel can no more defeat the narrowly defined Palestinian movement than the massive American military machine could win any sort of military victory in Iraq or Afghanistan.
The Palestinian Authority, moreover, incites its own people to commit atrocities, attacks against Israelis, knife attacks, car rammings, and other kinds of violent actions.
This is a one-sided tale that my opponent is telling of good Israelis and bad Palestinians.
It's a necessary condition to reach peace that the Palestinian movement be defeated.
Oftentimes, one must work with, talk to, and compromise with certain nefarious actors.
All right, so let me give you the quick summary. If you want to, you can watch the whole video. I'm going to give you the quick lowdown, okay? So we've got two parties here. We have Elon Giorno and Danny Sturgeon. Okay, I think that's how you say it. They're debating Israel versus Palestine. The resolution: to resolve the Israel-Palestinian conflict, Israel must first achieve defeat of the Palestinian movement. Let me say right off the bat, I agree. And I agree with Elon. He's arguing for it. Okay? But what's the basis for both of these parties? Well, I think we should compare a few things. One is, what's the standard by which each side uses to justify the existence of a state created by Israel or a state created by the Palestinian movement, although Israel is a state? Elon's standard is, does the state protect individual rights and freedom? Or is it a tyranny? Or is it trying to increase freedom or decrease it? Something relative like that. And he judges Israel. He said, yes, Israel is trying to protect freedom, individual rights. The Palestinian movement, Hamas, obviously not. Obviously, it should be obvious what they're doing right now. Danny's justification for Israel is that he says because of the Holocaust, Israel has some right to exist. I reject that. Elon rejects that. I'm not religious. Elon's not religious. So neither of us are justifying Israel's right to exist based on religion or anything to do with the Holocaust. So that's completely out right off the bat. Strangely enough, Danny's the person arguing against Israel, or I should say for the establishment of some kind of Palestinian state established by the current Palestinian movement, is arguing based on the Holocaust or something like that. So I think that's just stupid. It sounds like a flawed argument almost from the beginning. It builds resentment. Yes, everyone has a right to protect themselves. I recognize that, and Israel has a right to have special laws because they have unique threat to protect for their population. Danny also thinks that democracy is a good thing, at least inherently, whereas I and Elon view it as a tool to elect governments to protect individual rights, with the end goal being to protect individual rights. Danny sees democracy as, well, whoever is the most popular, that's what's right. So Elon and I have these objective standards to go by. Freedom, individual rights, these are principles, and they're objectively superior. I don't see how anyone could say freedom is not superior to tyranny, how human flourishing is not superior to subjugation, murder, genocide, aggression. I don't understand. And then Danny tries to say that there's no such thing as black and white. Well, what is he talking about? Or the issue isn't black and white, he says. Well, he's talking about good and evil. He's saying you can't just paint Israel as good and the Palestinian movement as evil. Well, I think actually you can divide this into two issues. It's true that Israel is not pure good. And it's true that the Palestinian movement, and certainly the Palestinians, are not pure evil. The good and evil are concepts. And no matter how evil a person gets or how good a person gets, they may not, in most cases, very few people are pure good or pure evil. Even the most evil people in the world, you could argue, are not pure evil. But where does that get us? Okay? Where does that get us? I mean, you look at the fundamental purpose of the Palestinian movement. It's not to improve the protection of individual rights and freedom beyond Israel. Now, if there were some people in Israel who wanted to establish a more free state than Israel, I would say they have all the right in the world. Doesn't mean they're going to be successful, because states traditionally don't respect that. But the point is, do they have a right to do it? Yes, they would. And if there was some other competition to the Palestinian movement that were among the Arabs and the Palestinian people who wanted to establish a free state, then we'd be having a different conversation. And Elon even says, maybe someday, if the Palestinian movement is defeated, and maybe there will be a group of people who will come about and they do want to establish a free state. And then we're going to have a much more complicated issue on our hands. But the whole point is the Palestinian movement right now, that's where we are, needs to be defeated. Yes, it does. And he even brings up Japan and Germany and says, look, that needed to be defeated the same. Although Danny brings up the counterpoint and says, well, at least in those cases, they got to have their state after that. And I agree with that. And Elon actually did agree with that as well when he said, well, if the movement ever changes, then we'll have to have that discussion and it'll be more complicated at that point. And Danny asks, he's like, well, are you talking about when you say defeated, what do you mean? Are you talking about some kind of, extreme use of force as in, military? These people are really going to have to be crushed. And a lot of people do advocate that. There's books like Nothing Less Than Victory, which I've read, and those bring about the transformative victories. They bring about real victories and transformation like there was with Germany and Japan. But Elon even says, no, it doesn't have to be that way. We can try other things, at least by taking a firm position, not rewarding these people and not emboldening them. But really, if you do want that transformation, if you did want to have another state, it probably would require some very strong action eventually, which is probably going to be needed. I think probably, but not necessarily. So anyway, watch the debate, check it out. I'm currently reading the book, What Justice Demands by Elon Giorno, but I'm already familiar with his views. The Ayn Rand Institute does a lot of great work. Check out the Ayn Rand Institute. Reason TV certainly posts some good articles. Check them out as well. They actually posted the video, link in the description. Thank you very much. Subscribe, like, hit the bell. Goodbye.